ascension. If you're in the southern hemisphere, when you correct your telescope pointing for parallax era, it's just inside the orbit of Neptune, and that it could be a brown dwarf. It's a very massive thing if it's there, and we've had some reasonably credible information come to us, which we're trying to check out. But this is weird.
Right. Now, I want to make it clear too. The brown dwarf is in addition to what I'm being told about. Okay.
Oh, really?
I'm being told about a 15 to 20 mile in diameter, if you will, almost like a spherical object that's changing speed and changing its azimuth and changing relatively very, very, how should I say this, even to the point of stopping. That's when the military, when I talked about it, I forget, 2 weeks ago or whatever, Holly puts a story up, U.S. military says that complete lockdown. That's when all the astronomers and everyone went crazy going, we got to have access to this stuff, you know? So it's fascinating. Here's what I look for, cause and effect. Do I believe they listen to the show? Absolutely. Do I believe, or do I know and believe? Absolutely. Do I think that there's something to it? All I can tell you is they could not have made the announcement that quickly, okay? It didn't even give them time to put up a good story or, just, a reflection of one of the moons of Saturn, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
The bottom line is within 12 hours, and one guy said that's when you saw it, Steve, it was posted within 4 hours after your show, and he actually sent me an email with the date on it, so I'm only saying this. It appears that, to answer John Galt's question, are you then seeing signs, potential signs, let's use that word, are you seeing potential signs of a magnetic pole swap?
Yes, and more than just the earthquakes up there in Greenland, that little cluster there, the South Atlantic anomaly, that magnetic anomaly down there that lets electromagnetic radiation and lethal radiation, in fact, from the sun leak through and hit the ocean there, that is widening and drifting. We've had personal reports from people ringing in from islands on the northeast coast of South America where people were getting sick, dizzy, nausea, like radiation problems, going to the doctor in droves, and it was because I'm reasonably certain at that time the effect of the anomaly had widened, and it was allowing radiation to seep in where it shouldn't, or where it doesn't normally anyway. So with that anomaly and the instability there, I'm thinking that's a magnetic anomaly, and that is unstable because the core, motions and the dynamo that creates our magnetic field is in change, or is in, change or from normal to another position, which could be making North Pole dance all around the planet, or it could just do a straight reversal and put the south where the north is. I don't think it's going to turn the planet upside down, but I do think that we are very close to a magnetic field or polarity change in the planet, and I suppose that what will happen is it'll do it when the sun changes its polar orientation, because it does that every 22 years with the Hale magnetic cycle. So we're now coming up to mid-cycle 24. It might be at the end of this cycle. I have to check and see when the Hale magnetic thing comes in, but this solar cycle 24, toward either the middle of it or the end of it, we might see this polar change take place.
Well, I
think it's possible, and certainly there are signs of irregularities in the magnetic field.
Well, I think another thing that most people, and this is a question somebody wanted to ask you, and I think I sent you the email about scalar weapons. One of the things that I'm told is when the earthquake and volcanic generating weapons go into effect, they create gravity wells, okay? Now, it's interesting because, as you know, that area up in, Norway, is Svalbard? Yeah. Well, that's where the Noah's Ark, with apologies to the biblical Noah, of the seeds of the world are kept. Yeah. Can you imagine the panic if that thing's taken out? Now, I want to make this clear. Because of the worry of Cumbre Vieja going off, and because of whether people want to believe this or not, or multiple governments using extreme technology, what I call Tesla on steroids, the bottom line is that if that is true, Stan, that with increased, electromagnetic weapons and the gravity wells being created, then I was told this by Air Force General. He said, we cannot fly through those things, Steve. He said they will drop it out. They'll drop a normal airplane. That's what he said, out of the sky like a box of, rocks. So you know, we had those two crashes. We had all the lies and the
You mean the airline crashes?
You got it.
Yeah, they were electromagnetic problems, reasonably certain, yeah.
Yes. But again, were you aware of the gravity well issue that's created when they use those form of scalar weapons?
No. I do, as you know, I'm preparing a paper for release, which shows the interaction between electricity and gravity very graphically and how you can duplicate the experiment yourself at home. And so if they do interact like that, then a scalar electromagnetic weapon must surely have some effect on gravity where the beam concentrates. Personally, I think it is horribly irresponsible for the nations of the world that have this technology to use it as a weapon at this time, because if one country's using it while the other country's using it while the third country's using it, they're going to create effects that are unpredictable in our electromagnetic sphere here, or in the magnetic field and gravity.
Right, and let's say this. Country A, country B, country C. Here's a scientific question for you. This isn't a trick question. They're all using derivatives of whatever technology they've stolen or acquired from each other and from, let's just say this, extra solar sources. There we go. We'll throw it out of the galaxy. So then they have ramifications being generated, or what's a better word than ramifications, but ancillary forces, or because they don't understand it, they pull the trigger, but they don't understand that the reverberations intersecting with someone else's pulled triggers reverberations. The military has a term for that, but I don't want to use it. We'll just call it galactic foul-up beyond all repair, okay?
Yeah,
goobar.
A foobar, yes.
Yes, goobar. Like a goober. But the bottom... Well, I'm trying to be...
away with words.
Yes, trying to be a little kinder and gentler. But again, from a scientific standpoint, that would explain so much. It would also explain that obviously there is a battle going on under the seas, above the atmosphere, and it seems to me that there's just way too much desire on the part of they who are in the know to keep those of us who are basically the PDBs, and I'll let you figure out what they refer to the B as, illegitimate people, but they call us the poor, dumb, illegitimate people, you know, that we're not privileged, elite to know. And so the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, and you know this, Stan, I say, everybody, you can't handle this stuff, take it to the Lord in prayer and ask Him if it's true. If you're not a Christian, then just scoff at it and forget it. But when your world is turned upside down, then you got some things to deal with. Where are we, in your opinion now, as far as the potential? The South Pacific is heating up, acting up. Holly, by the way, God bless her, give her a hug for me. She found the most beautiful picture of Anak Krakatau that I have ever seen.
Oh, that sunshot on the beach through the trees?
Oh, I gotta have that. I don't know if she, I'll ask Holly to find it. I'm gonna buy that photo and make a 20 by 40 footer of it. It's that nice.
It's a ripper. The contrast on it, the colors, it's just, what a mood, eh?
But the thing that's interesting to me is the days of Noah and Anak, from, obviously you're the Hebrew guy, Anakim, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so what we're talking about is just the potential for the sun, for the son of Krakatoa to even exceed the explosive power. Now, one of the things I got to ask you about, people used to poo-poo Henry Gruver's vision of the Pacific West being invaded by foreign forces, the West Coast, and others. You know, I mean, A.A. Allen had it too. I mean, there are a lot of guys with a lot of visions, and I'm talking separated by, one of them almost separated by a century. But were you fascinated to find out the largest lake of magma? I love that word, magma, was basically found under the Cascade region.
You mean larger than the one under Yellowstone?
Yep.
When did that happen? I missed that.
About 2-3 weeks ago. It was put up on my website. Now, here's what I'm saying. See,
I'm surprised, yes.
Yeah.
Well, when I say surprised, is that it's a lake, yes. That it's getting closer to the surface, no, because for, 10 or 12 years we've been talking about it moving up to within a mile of the surface all along the Cascades from even, down into the tail end of it down in Mexico. I even had dream visions about that whole West Coast erupting in 6 to 8 volcanoes at once.
Right, and that's the same thing that Henry Gruver had. But before that, I've gotten into it. I think I can open my mouth and get into it with somebody. the thing is that the scientists, you know, are saying, well, there's no evidence. And I said, evidence, brother? What do you think made those volcanoes?